Sorry, before I go to, okay, I've not reached a confident point. I've explained this rationality, so there's no point going there again. Now, the drawback of this method, if I go to calculation, the drawback of this method, one single drawback that normally feature in literature, in the body of knowledge, is that, well, apart from the fact that it's a little complex anyway, but with financial model, it's no more a complex thing. Okay. One single thing that you can see read readily is that it is difficult to arrive back at the correct estimated salvage value. You would have used salvage value to determine your rate. And these techniques, you cannot use it with zero salvage value. No, you cannot use the residual, sorry, you cannot use accelerated depreciation, that's the reducing balance method, with zero salvage value. No, you must have salvage value to determine the rate. You will see it. Now, when you are giving salvage value and you determine the rate, when you now compute all your depreciation to the end of the lifespan, it's difficult to obtain that salvage value back, the accurate figure. But I equally had it that I think that's the result from what we call approximation error. Because it's not that the gap will be too much. That's number one observation. Number two observation is that in my own practice, I've done financial modeling for this technique. And I get exactly the same value back. Because why? I allow spreadsheet to do all the wonderful. Right? I allow it, that's financial modeling. No add coding, no abbreviation, nothing. You just input all your data and it processes all the computation and you get exact book value, exact scrap value back. So I therefore was able to establish that the justification for that error, the little error that we normally experience, is approximation error. Okay, now having said this, before I go to rates, I see that I already have about 4 charts coming up, piling up. Let's quickly see what we have there. Excuse me. Now, okay, one of it is for you to have the, is it what? Okay, YouTube, I think that is for this lecture. And please, sir, is it correct? Somebody is saying, is it correct? Book value is equal to cost minus depreciation. It's correct, except that your depreciation should be accumulated depreciation. Book value minus accumulated depreciation or total depreciation. That is book value. I'm sorry. Yes, that is book value. Cost minus total depreciation or cost minus accumulated depreciation. That is book value. That is book value. Let me go back to this place. Look at it year in, year out. Your year one, this is the cost, right? This is the cost. Minus depreciation gives us book value, right? If you add this depreciation and this depreciation together, right? And you remove it from this cost, you will have this book value. Even if you look at my graphics, let me use pointer. Look at, this is the cost, right? Let's say you want to determine book value in year 2, right? This depreciation consumes this part, this depreciation consumes this part. So you are left with this portion, which is book value. Okay, if it is for year 3, you had this, and this together. You are not doing them yearly, for example. So if you add this, you know, this will consume this part at this level. This one at this level is consuming this part. Then this one at this level is consuming this part. What do you have left? The remainder, book value. So your book value is cost minus accumulated depreciation. That is correct. Okay. I have another one before I go to calculation quick. Okay, I think the guy said, okay, thanks. Yeah, now, so let's quickly look at calculating depreciation rate. And I mentioned earlier that all those concepts we discussed last class about depreciation, scrap value or salvage value, depreciation rate, depreciable amount, or depreciable value of sum, or depreciation base, all together referring to the same thing. Depreciation amount, excuse me, book value, accumulated depreciation, what have you. They are equally they are relevant or true. Okay, so here we are to determine what is depreciation rate, right? What is depreciation rate? Now, in most cases, where you need to calculate depreciation rate, we have various options for reducing balance method. Where you have scrap value given to you, you are expected to use this technique, this formula that I want to explain. Where in your question there is scrap value, you use this formula. This formula is again interpreted as this. It's the same thing. N root scrap value divided by cost means scrap value divided by cost raised to power 1 over n. Okay. Now, so this is depreciation rate, annual depreciation rate, which can be expressed like this, or it can be expressed like this. And if you want to convert it into percentage, you say all together multiply by 100%. Okay. Now, where this method I said earlier, you cannot determine depreciation rate here without having what? Scrap or salvage value. There must be. Because your scrap or salvage value cannot be 0. You can use these techniques for 0 scrap value, even if you look at the equation. Okay. Now, but where you are not given scrap value, you have the option of using what? Straight line method. You can use straight line method to determine rates. Whatever rate you now obtain, you will now be applying it, right, on reducing balance. Okay. I think there is a question like that in your study pack, actually, and that question featured in 1 or 2 years recent questions. So if I remember, or any of you can bring it up, we will do it after my presentation, after my lecture. Now, so another option you have is that the question can give you the depreciation rate using a rate of so, and the reducing balance method or declining balance method, present the table of depreciation, or present the table of depreciation and book value, or determine depreciation for so year. What is the accumulated depreciation and what's have you? Okay, so you have 3 likelihoods now. The first one is the one that will require you to use your depreciation rate method or formula under reducing balance method. Okay, the second one is, and this one, when you will know that you have to use this, your question will feature scrap value. Where your question features scrap value, don't jump at using straight line method. You might be penalized. That you will be penalized. But where you are compared, you have read through your question, there is no scrap value or salvage value. And you cannot use these techniques with 0 scrap value. Hence, what do? Fall back to depreciation rate using straight line method. Local colleagues, if you remember depreciation rate using straight line method, you don't need scrap value there. It's just 1 over what? 1 over n. 1 over number of years, that's all. And you move on. You'll get it. Another option, the scenario you can face is that the question might give you the depreciation rate. Okay, so in this formula, we will be running with this formula because we are dealing with what? Reducing balance method. In this formula, we have what we call depreciation rate, which is my R. I use R to represent that. S is the salvage or scrap value. Then cost, this is the original cost of the asset. That's cost of new, current cost or cost new of the asset. Okay. Then N is the lifespan, life expectancy, estimated lifespan, or what you call economic lifespan of the asset. That is the N. Okay. So this equation you have here, this formula is what I rewrote like this, just for convenience, whichever is convenient for you. Because candidate, I've had a series of cases when you write like this, candidates will here, hence root. What is the meaning of this end root now? Hey, we arrow go. So that's why I try to break it down so that whichever one that is more convenient for you. And I always tell my candidates, even when you want to use this one and you don't know how to determine your 1 over n, what does it make in your calculator? Just say 1 divided by your n, whatever the figure of your n is. First of all, get that answer, put it aside. Then you now come to your x divided by cost, scrap value divided by cost. Whatever you get, now raise it to the power of what you have gotten here as to what? 1 divided by n. So that you don't gamble. There's nobody will crucify you for having done that before, because they are looking at your answer. Even though that may waste your time. If you know what to do to determine nth root straight, the better. Okay. Having said that, Now I think this slide is clear enough. So let's see another thing that we might have, or application. Okay, I have another depreciation here. Just like in straight line method, you just apply your depreciation rate to your book value. For year one, it's going to be depreciation. Your book value will be what? Your book value will be the cost, the original cost for year one. But for year two, you would have removed year one depreciation from original cost. Then you are left with book value at the end of year one, which is what you apply depreciation rate, that same depreciation rate on to get depreciation for year two. So what you have here, here as depreciation rate multiplied by book value, that will give you annual depreciation, or what we call depreciation amount, year by year. Okay. Now, when you have you calculate on this basis over number of years, you add all of them together, that will result to what? Accumulated depreciation. That will result to accumulated depreciation. Okay. So let's proceed. Now let's quickly see example. Recall that we use this example in straight line method. So we want to quickly use it now again here and see how it will play out. In this case, the question says we should determine the depreciation rate using reducing balance method. Then the second one says, what is the first year depreciation amount? We have to determine that. And the third question says, prepare a spreadsheet of annual depreciation over the lifespan of the asset. As a matter of fact, question 1 can be subsumed or is subsumed in question 3. If you get the spreadsheet of table of lifespan, the table of annual depreciation over the lifespan of the asset in just 5 years, then you just pick the depreciation for year 1 there. That answers question 2. Or you just apply the formula cost minus depreciation rate. That will give you the depreciation for year 1. So let's quickly see how to solve this. Now, this is the solution. The first thing to do is what? To calculate. Okay, let me see. I think I should pick my pen at this point. The first thing to do, is to calculate rates. You can see this is the rate. To calculate rates, and we have this formula that I've stated earlier. Noble colleagues, you need to know this formula. I would have said don't cram, but if that will be the solution, cram. Don't double into exam. We are noble colleagues. I trust you will not do that anyway. So, but if you work over and over past questions, or even some questions, or you rewrite this over and over, it will be part of you. You will understand what it is. Then you don't need to cram. Okay, so now our S is our scrap value, which is given as 1 million, right? It's given as 1 million, right? And our C is the cost, original cost of the asset, not historic cost. So I guess we understand the difference between original cost and historic cost. When I finish my class, somebody please remind me. You guys have to, let's interact with that. I want to learn from you. Okay. This is our cost, if you remember. And those are what we substitute into this formula. So our number of years, N, is 5, as you can see there. So now, if you find, again, please let me mention that when answering this type of question, it's very important for you to have in mind the rule of what? The rule of BODMAS. The rule of BODMAS. So you have everything in bracket here. You first of all solve everything in bracket, which gives us 0.0625. You can say that I've allowed what? Into 4 decimal places. I allow into 4 decimal places. If I have said 0.06, the error will be more. So please, 0.0625, right? Raised to power 1/5. So again, you will solve the one in bracket again, which is raised to power. That's all this. You have to solve all this. When you solve all this, it will give you this. Before you now deduct whatever you have here from 1. And that gives us 42.57%. 42.57%. If you, that is this 42.5, 0.42565, approximated 0.5257. 0.4257. When you convert it to percentage, that is what I did here to show you how to convert it to percentage. Multiply by 100%. It will give you this figure. Okay? So that is calculating rate. With that, we have done with the rate. So let's see now how to apply these rates. You know, the question, go back to the question. The question says, determine the depreciation rate. We have done that. That's question 1. Question 2 now says, what is the first year depreciation amount? You have to determine depreciation amount first year. All you need to do is to apply the rates to what? To your costs. Because that your cost will be your book value at the beginning of the year. Okay? So we are saying the same thing there. Let's see. So here, you have the book value multiplied by what? Multiplied by your rate. That's your depreciation for the year. Book value multiplied by your rate. And being year 1, your book value is what? It's your cost. Because no depreciation has been deducted ever. This is the first one you will do. So cost multiplied by your rate, right? That gives us this figure. That gives us this figure. That is for year 1. That is for year 1. Okay? I hope we are together. Now, in this year 1, we are done with year 1. The next question says, prepare a spreadsheet of annual depreciation over the lifespan of the assets. Right? We should prepare spreadsheets. That's what the question says now. So that is this part of it. And if you look at in the spreadsheet, depreciation for year 1 is equally what? The same amount. Depreciation for year 1. You can see it here. See, depreciation for year 1 is the same amount as what you have here. Is that not so? So then you are left with book value here for year 1. Then you apply your rate to that same book value in year 2. Multiply by your rate. Okay, that gives us this. That gives us this. You will remove this from your book value. You are left with this. Okay. Then in year 3, this represents your book value at the beginning, upon which you will charge depreciation. Right? You will multiply by your R. That will give you this. Okay. You will remove this from that book value. That will give you book value for end of year. If you come to this is your scrap value, because we have computed for what? The whole of the lifespan of 5 years. And you can see that it's just 1,007 naira. Whereas the salvage value or book value you are given, let's go back, if you remember, is what? Is 1 million. So it's just about 7 naira difference. Okay? So it's not a really serious drawback. Now, this explains what I think you need to know about coming up with the table. But you equally have formula to determine book value. So that's what I want to see now. Formula to determine book value. And that formula has some relevances in applications. I will show us all those ones. Those things will allow you to work faster and smarter, even if not for your exam, right? At least even while you are doing modeling or while you are working in an office, you will always be very flexible. Your knowledge will be, very, very flexible. You can play around knowledge. So let's see those ones. There's nothing that says you cannot use them for exam. However, I don't know your marking script. And I don't know who is going to mark your script. So I wouldn't know if the person that will mark your script is open, he has open mind to equally assess, this marking scheme will cover all the various scopes of all the various approaches that can be used. And that's why I choose as much as possible to use the two approaches, right? And I will only equally mention to you that the one that has to do with spreadsheet, this one that we have done is what is in your study pack. The formula too that we want to use is stated in your study pack, but with a limitation. It was stated as if it's a scrap value. It's not in all cases that formula will give you scrap value. I will explain all those things now. So let's see book value. Now, this is book value. This is book value. Recall that your book value is what? Cost minus total depreciation, or cost minus accumulated depreciation, as I corrected my noble colleagues the other time. That is book value, right? That is book value, which is this. Which is this. But apart from this process, you have another process by formula to determine book value under reducing balance method. Under the reducing balance method. Let me mention that this first approach is generic to all depreciation techniques. It's of general application. But this second one is peculiar to reducing balance or double reducing balance method. It's peculiar, limited to reducing balance or double reducing balance method. Okay? So don't say, Olalekan Bode, that man said you can use this formula. So you are doing some of your digits, or you are, in fact, when we get into some of your digits, I have another formula for book value and like that. It's only that I will just show you, I might not bother you so much about them, because that formula seems to be a little complex than all these ones. And they are not in your study pack, so you might not be examined on them, but I will leave you with the formula, at least for knowledge's sake. Now, so this one is peculiar to reducing balance or double reducing balance. Now, when your Z represents age in use, effective age of the asset, for how long has it been in use? That is Z. You can see I didn't put N here. So if your Z, if you have Z that is age in use, this formula will give you book value. Let's say you want to determine book value, like this example we have done here. Incidentally, I didn't do the thing, but we can quickly do it. This example that we have done here. Let's say you want to determine book value at the end of year 3. At the end of year 3, you can use this formula, right? This formula, all you need to do, you have your rate already. Cost here 16 million. Put your rate here. Somebody should be doing that too. Then your Z will be what? 3 years. Your Z will be 3 years. Let me go back to where you have the rate so that you can drop the rate. Yes, see your rate here. Your rate is 0.4256 57. 4257. That's your rate. I want to quickly check it up too. Nobody should talk. If you do it, you get it. Just send it through chat. I don't want anybody to talk, please, so that we'll be able to gain ground more today. So I've used 0.4. I've used 0.4257 here. Okay. So you now say raised to power. In this case, we say 3. So now multiply by the cost, which is 16 million there. Okay, bravo. I think I'm there. I don't know if you are there, noble colleagues. I'm there. Yeah, I'm there. Okay. So, and I got roughly the same figure. Roughly the same figure. So check it up. I'm sure you will get the same thing with me. Check it up. Okay. So that is how to use this formula. Or maybe I should use my pen to do it. Yeah, let me use my pen since I have a pen that can write faster today. Oh God, where am I? Okay, I hope. Okay, so now what we are saying is that with this formula, your book value, right, will be is equal to 16 million. Look at what you will compute to. 16 million into 1 minus 0. I think it's 42. I abbreviated it to 57. Right? All raised to power, your z will be 3. All raised to power 3. This is what you will compute out. Don't forget that 60 million here is saying multiplied by, that's into brackets. Okay? This is what you will compute out. The moment you compute this out, you will get the book value at the end of 3rd year. Save maybe an approximation error. You get this book value at the end of 3rd year, which is what I got here. Okay? Let me point it out. So I will check. I see reactions on the chat. I'll check now. This is it. Okay? So let me quickly see what we have. Maybe my valuers have given me answers. Yeah, this guy, yes, 3,000,003. Yeah, that's roughly 3 million. Yeah, that's his approximation error. Okay, that's correct. This guy got 3,031,000. Okay, so like that, you can see that we get the same thing. And I need to mention that this table that I brought to you here, it was copied from spreadsheet. So it's possible that the approximation error will be minimal. Okay, now, so you have seen the application, part of what I will explain to you. So this formula gives you what we call book value. At the end of any year, it gives book value at the end of any year. At the end of any year. Sorry, I see another message coming in. Okay, thank you everyone for participating. Thank you. That's all right. Now, so that is book value. You have the option of calculating using cost minus total depreciation, or you have the option of using this formula to calculate. The only advantage of this formula is that fast, very fast, you are gone, right? Just few lines, you have achieved it. Okay, and it has other area of application, which I will show you now. But my emphasis, please note that R here is what your depreciation rate, the annual depreciation rate that you have computed. That's your R. Then your Z is not N, it's not lifespan, is how long has the asset been in use, the age of the asset. Don't make mistake to make Z N. Like in this case, you now put 5 there, you will get scrap value. You will get, if your Z is N, you will get scrap value. And that's why I put a note here. I said, note that when your Z is equal to N, book value will be equal to what? Scrap value. So you should master the features, your input in the formula. That's just the only thing. When you master the input in the formula, before you know it, before you start computing tables, you are done. Okay? But as I said earlier again, the emphasis in your study pack is more of the table. You know, so I will advise, if you are not, if the examiner is not giving you very long number of years, like it's asking you to do like 9 years or 13 or 17 years, use your table. If you have about 5, 6 years to do, use your table so that it will conform. I don't know the marking scheme at the disposal of your examiner. So, but on international best practice, you can calculate based on this. And I'll show you more of the applications. Okay, everyone, I thank you for that participation so far. Now, let's quickly see further application of what we are talking about. Other areas of application of book value formula. I've used that to determine book value, you have seen it. But you can even now use that formula again to determine accumulated depreciation. That formula can give you accumulated depreciation. When you interplay with it. If you are fast, noble colleague, if you go to your equation of accumulated depreciation, let me just give you an instance. Let me show you here. Recall that your book value, the generic formula is said to be what? costs, right, minus accumulated depreciation. Abi, you remember that? Then make your accumulated depreciation subject of the formula now. When you do that, you have accumulated depreciation. You have what I have here. If you just make it subject of the formula. So accumulated depreciation at the end of Z period will be cost minus book value. That formula will give you book value. You already have your costs in your question. Just remove your book value from your costs in the question, the cost, the full cost. What you are left with is accumulated depreciation for that year. I mean, for up to the end of that year. That's what you will be left with. Accumulated depreciation up to the end of that year. I think I applied this in one of the examples. So let's proceed. As we get there, in one of the examples, you will see. So this is one other area of application. Again, I call it now said, even you can use that same formula to determine annual depreciation for a particular year using reducing balance method. You can use it. In fact, all what I said here is not limited to reducing balance method. Though. What you have here is all true. The only thing that is limited to reducing balance is how you determine your book value using that formula. If you have your book value in any of the techniques and you remove your book value from your cost, you have your accumulated depreciation. It's generic. Again, if you have book value for a preceding year and book value for a succeeding year, and you subtract book value of succeeding year from that of preceding year, you will have depreciation for that particular succeeding year. For example, you need book value, you have book value for year 4. You have book value for year 3. Don't forget that book value for year 3 will be more than book value for year 4. So book value from year 3, you will remove book value from year 4 there. For year 4 there, it will give you depreciation for particular year 4. That year 4, depreciation for that year. That's what it will give you. I think I demonstrated that in another work example. So let's quickly go for that to see that. Let's quickly go for that to see that. 1 minute, please. Before we go, I want to change my internet access to more efficient Wi-Fi, so that welcome back, noble colleagues. Welcome back. So now we have more. I think this Wi-Fi is more reliable, even though I've not been having internet challenges, but at the same time. Okay, now, so with what I have given you here, the first one is that you can derive accumulated depreciation using the book value formula, which is what I stated here, and you can equally derive depreciation for a specific year. Let's say an asset has 25 years lifespan. And they now say, what is the depreciation for 19th year? Depreciation for 19th year. Will you run the table, spreadsheet table for 19 years? That's not working smarter. Okay? So, or then say, what is total depreciation over the 19th year? Total depreciation over the 19th year will just require you to use that formula, determine the depreciation, the book value as at the end of 19th year. Your Z will be 19. Okay? Then remove whatever you get from your costs. That gives you accumulated depreciation over 19 years. Okay? Now to get depreciation for the particular 19th year, that of 19th year, the depreciation for that year only. Get the book value for year 18 using that formula. And you have gotten the book value of year 19. Remove the book value of year 19 from the book value of year 18. The difference is your depreciation for year 19. As simple as that. So let's move further. Now, I think I have applications. Yes, this is an application. This is a solution. Now, I should equally even put solution here. So that, let me first of all put that. Solution. I have a question. I will take you to that question. Is in Niesv. Is in Niesv's past question. So I didn't type it out. I'll take you to the question now. For you to read, you can quickly write it down. Right? Okay, that is this question. Okay, sorry, before we go to that question, please, let me quickly attend to chats. I don't know if it has to do with anything. Okay, I'm glad the question was for the third year. Yes, BV, yes. Okay, please, sir, can you explain again the spreadsheet on getting the depreciation? Okay, okay, let's go back, please, noble colleague, so that we carry everybody along. If you have unmuted your microphone, please mute it back. Mute it back. Is it your dog that is barking your microphone? You are hearing the barking of dog. Okay, for that explanation that you said you need, please, let me clear this so that I can re-explain. I think I have to do some calculations here. And please arm yourself with your calculator. For me, it's simple arithmetic we want to do, right? Simple arithmetic. Now, the question is that I should go back to this table. Yes, going back to this table is very simple. Let me tell you that you start your table with your cost, because at the 0 year, your cost will be your book value. It is upon that cost you will charge your depreciation. So from this formula, what we have here, okay, what we have here, please look at this formula. We have book value, right, multiplied by depreciation rate. Is that not so? Your depreciation rate is this, which we have calculated before using the formula. And if you are not using this formula, you might use straight line if you don't have scrap value, for example, or if you are given the rate, you just use the rate. But in our own case, we have calculated because we have scrap value, right? We have scrap value to use. So we have calculated it, which is this. So this rate, all you need to do to get everything here that is depreciation, right, one by one, is that you will apply this formula. For year one, rate multiplied by your book value, which is the cost. Rate multiplied by this will give you this. Can you quickly do it and check it out? Just do it. If you are wrong, chat me up. I mean, if this your figure is wrong, chat me up so I will know where it is wrong. But if it is right, don't talk, don't chat. Okay? So if you get it, then when you get this, don't forget that reducing balance charges rate on book value. Book value means after removing accumulated depreciation. For your year one, your depreciation is limited to this. You will remove it from your 16 million. You will have this. Okay, somebody is chatting. Let's see, maybe there is an issue. Thanks, sir. I got it now. Okay, good. I think we can then proceed. The person has said, so now when you do but let me just round up that. When you remove this depreciation from what you have here as your book value, you will be left with this. This will represent the book value at the beginning of year two, right? You will calculate that same rate on this one now. You will get this. You will remove this from what you have here to get the book value at the end of year two. So that is the way you will continue until the end of the lifespan or until the end of the number of years you are required to do. Thank you. Now, let's go to our example. Let's go to our example. So in this example, Let me show you, right? This question, the question number 6. Let me highlight. So you can quickly write down this question, please. That is what we'll be going through the solution. Or if you have it already, I'll handy with you. Don't bother to write because there is no time. Okay? So let me just read the question out. 750 million was expended to establish an indigenous liquefied natural gas plant at Element in River State. Right? This plant has an effective surface area of 20 years. Lifespan is what? 20 years. After which it is expected to be dismantled. Underline that, oh, noble colleagues. After which it is expected to be dismantled. It's expected to be dismantled. See? To be dismantled and sold for 1.5 million naira, 1,500,000 naira, net of expenses. There is a clause that is important there. That's why I emphasize that. The question now says, using the reducing balance method of depreciation, calculate 1, depreciation rate. 2, accumulated depreciation after 6 years. 3, net current replacement cost after 6 years. So let's see the solution. Let's see the solution now. Let's see the solution now. Okay. In this regard, I'll quickly go back to my slide for you to follow up. I want to believe you already have all those things, even though I have the data too in this slide anyway. So you see now, this one, we always want to remain on the, okay. So now, what we have here, we have your costs. If you go back to that question, let me emphasize something here. Look at the question. It says was expended on indigenous liquefied plants, right? So that gives us gross current replacement or reproduction cost. Let's make it reproduction. Nothing is telling us that it's replacement. Gross current reproduction cost, 750 million. Lifespan, 20 years. I should supposed to put years here. 20 years. Okay? Then net realizable scrap value. That's what they call net of expenses. 1.5 million. Solution. I don't want to waste your time, noble colleagues. I would have said you should try it. But let me explain the area of intricacies. In this question, you are not given scrap value. In this question, you are given what? They said after which it is expected to be dismantled and sold for 1.5 million net of expenses. It then means that you don't have your scrap value yet. That's part of where candidate might miss it. And if you miss it from that place, you continue to miss it because it's an input in your depreciation rate, for example, and it will be an input in all other calculations. However, your step might be right. It depends on the marking scheme. You might still be okay. But now, what are you supposed to do? Scrap value is different from net realizable value or net realizable scrap value. Net realizable, when they say this figure is net of expenses, it means it is that 1.5 represents a figure from which cost of dismantling, cost of sales have been removed. So to determine your scrap value from your scrap value before arriving at 1.5 million from your scrap value. What is happening here? Sorry. From your scrap value before arriving at your Sorry, please. Oh, I think I tamper with my screen here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. From your scrap value, right? Before arriving at 1.5 million, some figures are being removed. Some figures are being removed before you arrive at scrap value. It means
Sir, we can't see the chart, sir. We can't see the spreadsheet.
you can't see the
We're only
spreadsheet.
seeing you, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm not seeing your screen, sir.
You are not seeing my screen. Okay.
Yes, sir.
That means I've lost that screen. Don't worry. Okay. Are you seeing my screen now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's all right. Thank you. So what I was trying to explain, what I was trying to explain is that you see, this your cost, which is given as 1.5 as terminal value. The question is so explicit to tell us that it's a figure that is net of expenses. That's what I'm trying to explain. It's a figure that is net of expenses, this 1.5. So it is therefore not your what? Not your scrap value. It's a figure which is net of expenses. So that means, please, everybody move yourself. Infinite x with x there. Okay, thank you. Move yourself. Everybody, please, do you move yourself? Okay, thank you. Now, to arrive at this 1.5, it involves a process. And the process is that you have what we call scrap value. Scrap value. From your scrap value, they have removed cost of sales. That's why you have what? That's why you have they've removed cost of sales to give you that 1.5 million. Okay? That's why they call it what? Net of expenses. Net of expenses. The 1.5 million is scrap value minus all expenses on sales. That is now what gives you 1.5. So the first thing you have to do is to determine what is scrap value. So I said to determine what scrap value, right? Assume cost of dismantling and sales to be 10%. It's not compulsory you use 10%, you can use 15, you can use 25. I just choose, and you can use a flat figure. I just choose to use it percentage. That percentage work easier for you. So you therefore say, let X represent your scrap value. So X, which is scrap value, minus cost of sales gives you 1,500,000. So therefore, it then means, don't forget that X minus your cost of sales is 10%, which means minus what? 0.1x. That is what will give you 1.5 million. So X, the coefficient of X here is 1. Like if you factorize this, if you choose to factorize this now, X is common to 1 minus 0.1. That is what this factorization will be. I think I need to clear that. Okay. Now, I was trying to say that this will be 0.1, then all in brackets. So if you stop this out, you have X multiplied by 0.9. That's what leads us to 0.9x here, to be equal to 1,500,000. So making X subject of the formula, you divide both sides by 0.9, 0.9. This remains X. This is now 1.5 divided by 0.9. At the end of the day, your scrap value is what? 1,666 naira, 666,660 naira. Don't forget that the value of this X will vary with whatever you have assumed. If you assume it to be 25%, your X will go up. It's like this because I've assumed 10%. Please bear that in mind. So with this now, we have now gotten what is the value of X. And X is what? Our scrap value. Now we now have our scrap value to play with. So it will be an error to jump at using 1.5 million as scrap value. Because your question says it's net of what? Net of expenses. The equation is even explicit enough to say after which it is to be dismantled and sold, right, at 1.5 million net of expenses. Okay, so therefore, what is terminal value? Before you remove cost of dismantling, before you remove cost of sales, that is your scrap value. That's what we have to do, and that's what we have done now. Okay, so now let's go for that to now see the application. So now you have your scrap value, which is this. Let me pick my pointer. We have your scrap value, which is this, and that is 1,660,660 naira. 0.6 cover, 0.60 cover. Now you have your cost, which you have been given as 750 million. And the lifespan, which is N here, don't forget, is 20 years. So when you solve this equation, your rate will be what? 0.2632. If you want to convert this to percentage, let me go back. You want to convert it to percentage now, right? You are converting it to percentage, you know, it becomes what? That is 0.2632 multiplied by 100%. That will now give you 26.32%. Okay, you are converting. Now, that is the rate. That's the first part of the question. We have determined the, let me show you again. That's the annual depreciation rate. We have determined that already. Now, the second one says accumulated depreciation. So to determine accumulated depreciation, I have two approaches, just for your convenience and knowledge. The first approach is, I think if I'm right, the way I use it is using the spreadsheet. Okay, this is where we are. The first approach here, we use the spreadsheet, we use table. Okay, this is this. We use table, right? In this, we use table, right? So in using table, we come up with the table of depreciation and book value over 5 years, sorry, over 6 years. And that is what we have here. Let me point to that. That's what we have here. This is the depreciation for year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, and like that. How do you arrive at this? You remember, your book value for year 1 will be your cost, 750. You apply your rate on it, you get this. You remove this from your cost, you have this as book value. This will be your book value at the beginning of year 2. Then you calculate rate on it, you get this. When you apply, when you remove this from that book value, that is this from this, it will give you this. So you will continue like that until you get to end of year 6. What you have here represents the book value at the end of year 6, which the question 3 asks you to do. Then accumulated depreciation is the summation of depreciation for year 1, year 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 together. That gives you this. Okay, that's accumulated depreciation. Okay, let me mark on that. That is this. Accumulated depreciation is this. And that is what? Addition of all this added together. Now, all this added together, if you remove it from your total cost, it will give you this, which is your what? Your book value. To give you this, the same thing. So this is one method. The second method is using the formula that I gave you. That is this here. To determine accumulated depreciation, don't forget that we said is cost minus book value. Cost minus book value. And using that method, you determine your book value at the end of year 6. Book value at the end of year 6 is this. The only thing you need to note very well is that your Z will be what? Will be 6. Your Z will be 6. So 1 minus your depreciation rate, this is 0. There's point here. I guess, yes, that's fine. Well, I think it's 26. Yes. Okay. So you will compute that out. If you compute that out, you will have this figure. Then when you compute, you will get your book value, which is this. If you look at this figure, 119,993,844, and go back to your table. This is it here. 119,993,844. Right? So you have gotten your book value. Your total depreciation or accumulated depreciation over the 6 years will now be cost, right? It will be cost, which is this, minus the book value at the end of year 6. You are left with what? Accumulated depreciation. And if you go back to that table, see, 630,006,115. Come back to the calculation here, 630,006,115. You got the same thing, okay? You got the same thing. So you can use either. You will arrive at the same answer. But however, as I said earlier, the processes in your study pack emphasizes more of using this table, right? So do your table as explicit as possible. I will prefer if you want to do it, do the table based on the first table I show you, which is this. You know, this one has, it's more explicit. You know, you show the way you do your calculation here. This one, I just try to give you summary of the answer, depreciation book value, you know. That means this one will left you with using calculator to compute based on, when you get this, just calculate rate on this, that will give you this. Remove this from this, that will give you this. Calculate, okay, let me pick my pointer. Calculate rate on this, that will give you depreciation for year 2. You remove depreciation for year 2 from book value of year 1, you get book value for year 2. Calculate rate on depreciation for year 2, for book value, rate of depreciation for book value of year 2, you get depreciation for year 3. If you remove depreciation of year 3 from book value of year 2, you get book value of year 3. Like that, until you get to the end. Okay? So that is how to use the depreciation, the book value formula to determine accumulated depreciation and to determine book value. I don't know if I show how to use it to determine depreciation for a specific year. Okay, I don't think I do that. But you can use it to do that. You can use it to test, even with your table. Get book value, for example, for year, you have this table for 6 years. Get book value, for example, for year 3. Get book value for year 4. Remove book value of year 3 from year 4. You will get depreciation for year 4. As simple as that. So you can do that on your own. I don't have time left. I would have said we should try that again. That's not necessary. Yes, please. You have question? Okay, thank you. Now, with this, I've come to the end of reducing balance method. Now, before I leave reducing balance method to some of year's digits, right? Let's quickly talk about the difference between single reducing balance method, which is the reducing balance method I've been talking, and what we call double reducing balance method. The only difference is that your rate as calculated will be multiplied by 2. That's all. You just multiply your rate. Let me go back to where you have your rate. If you are using that, after computing this rate that you have here, which is 0.2632, this rate will now be, if it is double reducing balance that you want to use or you are asked to use, you compute your rate as you have done here or using straight line method, then you now multiply that rate by 2 before you start to apply that rate on your book value, reducing book value. That's all. There's no any other work there other than that. There's no any other work. And that's what makes the difference between the two. Okay? So before
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
now,
please.
Since it just to multiply by 2, then why are we using the double decline method, sir? Why are we using it?
Well, there might be reasons, and I think the reason that really come to my mind is that if you want to really accelerate, you want to double up your depreciation. So just double, just multiply the rate by 2. Then after getting the rate by 2, that will give you the depreciation rate on double declining balance method. Then that rate is now what you will now apply to your book value in reducing balances. That's all. So, but the only
thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. The only effect is that it doubles the rate of depreciation. It doubles the rate of acceleration in depreciation. That's the only thing. So let's quickly see before I go to some of the SDGs. Let's see what we have on charts. I do hope time will permit. If there's no question, please, I kindly go back to the last solution. Okay, I will. I'm coming. Let me just run through what we have. Okay, please, I go to the last solution. This last solution, I don't know what you mean. You mean the one I have here? Okay, I will think that's what you mean. I will go back to that. Then the other guy said, please, at which situation can we use the straight line method? Okay. Okay. Let me quickly answer that because that will not require me to go back to it. Now, you use the straight line method if the question requests you to use straight line method. That is 1 for your exam. 2, if the question does not state any method of depreciation at all, and instead of you locking up yourself into complex method, use straight line method. Now, they are not giving you any choice. So you are left to make your choice. That's number 2. Those are for exam. 3, for practice, use straight line method where the standard requires it. Maybe the valuation standards requires it, or maybe international or accounting standard requires it, or maybe the company policy that you have to value for requires it. Okay? Or if it's not provision of standard, is it provision of statute? If the statute law requires it, you use straight line method. That means if you are doing valuation, you don't just use your discretion. You have to know what is the basis of what you want to do. Is there any provision of standard? Is there any standard that have provision regarding the assignment? Check the provision of the standard so that you ensure that you apply those provisions to reflect the true picture of what is required. Is there any provision of law? Like, for example, if you want to value for compensation in Nigeria, you go back to land use decree to know the procedure, to know how to charge, what to take care of or not, and what not to take care of. Same thing if there is provision of what? Statute. Now, again, there are the various accounting standards now. Check which accounting standard is applicable. Is it IPSAS? Is it International Financial Reporting Standard? Or is there any other accounting standard that a company is using? Okay? Or does the company have a policy about the depreciation, which is straight line method? Then you use it. Then if all these are not there, another one is the nature of the asset itself. If it's an asset that will depreciate gradually, you use straight line. Like you are valuing for building. Normally building depreciate gradually. There are some building components, however, that does not depreciate gradually. But if you are looking at the old building, you are not doing componentization in using costs. If you are not decomponenting, right? You are using the old building, you use straight line. Right? Road, I gave you that example before. Drainage. But bridge, I read that in my research under infrastructural valuation. That bridge is of parabolic. It does not depreciate gradually. So that one requires reducing balance or some of the SDGs. Unless if the accounting standard says, even if it is the one that requires accelerated, use straight line. That is fine. Or if it is valuation standard that says that. So those are the conditions for that. Then I think when scrap value is not given, I think when scrap value is not given at what? Okay, maybe if the guy is, or is your question, where do you use straight line method to calculate rates in reducing balance? If that is your question, yes, where you do not have scrap value, then you are left with no option other than to use what? Straight line method. Or where the question says, determining the rate using straight line method, calculate your depreciation as reducing balance. But where the question does not say that, it says calculate using reducing balance, and you do not have scrap value, then you will adopt the straight line method of calculating rates. Whatever rate you now get, you now deploy it to the reducing balance. That is using it to charge based on reducing book value. Thank you, Mr. What's that person? Is it Mr. Shebi? Okay. Mr. Shola Oyelola, because that called my attention to maybe the fact that what the guy was asking for was different from what I explained. Okay, when you are not giving, okay, another person is responsible to that. Okay, that's when you use straight line method under to determine rate only under reducing balance method when you don't have square value. And that type of question is in your study pack and is in your past question. If I'm able to see it, we'll bring it up. I think it's in your maybe 2018. Okay, since you have been asking questions about that, let me quickly see if I can see that 2018 question. I'll bring it up now so that you can check it up. Yeah. Okay, good. In fact, it's the one that is big, that is showing to us. Noble colleagues, look at this question. Look at this question. This question requires you to do what? To calculate using single reducing balance method. You are required to compute its annual depreciation using single declining balance approach. But you are not giving what? You are not giving scrap value. Truly, I equally observe that this supposed not to have been a depreciable book value. But since you have been given depreciable book value, just take it as your cost. Because you don't apply straight reducing balance method at the beginning on depreciable balance. No, you apply it on cost, on the old cost. And you now reduce at the end of the lifespan, you will now get the scrap value back. Okay? Please, let's consult books. So, but with this question, what you will do is you take 1,050,000 as your cost. Okay? Now, you don't have scrap value, so you cannot use reducing balance method to determine the rate. You are left with the option of what? Using straight line method to determine the rate. And that straight line method is very simple, 1/n. That one does not require scrap value. So you will therefore have what? 1/25. Whatever you get out of 1/25, maybe I think it's 0.4 if I remember. That will be your rate, which you will now apply into your table. How many years? This question, anyway, is a very simple question, but you will run your table for 25 years. This is serious. Anyway, it's repetition. You just continue. After year one, book value for year one, charge depreciation on it for year two, get depreciation of year two. You move it from that of book value of year one, get book value for year two. Charge the same 4% on the book value of year two, you get depreciation for year three. Remove depreciation of year three from book value of year two, get book value of year three. Charge that 4% on the book value of year three, get the depreciation for year four, remove the book value of year four from book value, and the depreciation of year four from the book value of year three, get book value of year four. Like that for 25 years. You have your don't talk. So that is that. You have good example here. Okay. Okay. Can I proceed now? My time is even fast.
Hello, sir.
Hello, please.
Hello, sir.
Yes, I'm with you.
I want to ask, using book value as cost, is it right?
I've passed comment on that before. I said it's not right. Particularly when you are using reducing balance method, you don't depreciate depreciable sum. You start your depreciation from costs. But with the question you have here, that's what you should do. One. Number two, if you go to this question is in your study pack, the calculation is there, and that is the way it's done. So this 1,050,000 is taken as your cost. Just ignore the error. Because it's beyond what you can make assumption for. Right? If you will be making assumption, want to make assumption for scrap value and add it back so that you cannot have your costs, it might be far away from what the examiner expects of you. And it's again, if your study part is showing that calculation, confirm with it. But I made that explanation. That's why I said, let's go back to book. Right? Because in reducing balance method, you start depreciation with the full cost. You don't start depreciation with depreciable sum or depreciation base. No. I think it was an error during the makeup of that study pack. No doubt about that. Because if you look at it, it's a question that is brought up from straight line method. So attention was not taken about that effect. And if you read in book, what I said is clear, is in books, standard books. You see what I've said there. But that's not to create myself as naive. Okay, it's an observation. But I'm not saying for the purpose of exam, unless it's corrected. If it's not corrected and you have it like this, and it's in your study pack, what do you do? Answer the question. The other limitation you have is, okay, you don't have square value, fine. But this method, even in books, allows you to use straight, you can determine your rates using straight line method. It's allowed, it's a standard thing. You can do it. And that's a condition where you don't have square value. Because you cannot determine rate using the formula for reducing balance method to determine the depreciation rate, right? Where the square value is not given, or where your square value is 0. Okay? So if an examiner wants to tempt you, say, he can give you square value and say square value is 0. In that way, that the body of knowledge is there, can use straight line method. And with straight line method, you don't need who is this person? Joshua, please move yourself. Joshua, you are distracting us. Okay? So, thank you. Okay? Now, I think another, you don't want us to go to another method the way you are doing. Okay, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. You are welcome, Ma. Thank you. You are greeting. Okay, please take back as please take back accelerated depreciation 6 years. Okay, from okay, it is somebody is giving us the page. That question is on page 166 of the study pack. So please feel free to go and check it out. That's like bonus question for you. If it comes in your exam, you know what to do. If you want to do a video, don't write it in a paper. You know where you can write it? Write it in your brain. Write the whole process in your brain, but monitor it. Because a very good examiner will just introduce a trick into it. Maybe change the figures for you. Or correct the problem. So write it here, please. Not in a small paper or on your hand, in your brain. That should be a bonus mark. Okay. Please, the last slide on accumulated depreciation. Okay. Is that the same person that, okay, I see Atinukemi here. Madam, is it the same Atinukemi that I know? If it's the same thing, come with my bottle of Coke to Academy. That means you have handed yourself the responsibility to buy a bottle of Coke. Okay, I want to check if it's the same person. I think it's the same person that said, oh no, it's not the same person. Okay, quickly, let me go to that last slide and talk about accumulated depreciation. Last slide, not this. Okay, let me start from here, please. Noble colleague. You see, accumulated depreciation is summation of all depreciation. In this question is 6 years. Depreciation for year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, and year 6 added together. That's accumulated depreciation. And that's what we have here. That's what we have here. That's what we have here. Okay. Again, if you don't want to do it like this, the moment you got your book value for year 6, just remove your book value for year 6 from your total cost. You will get this same figure, accumulated depreciation. As simple as that. Then, if you now want to use formula, right? I said for formula, your accumulated depreciation is cost minus book value. You will use your formula to determine your book value instead of using your spreadsheet, your table. Use your formula to determine your book value. Get the answer of book value as we have gotten here. Then therefore remove it from your cost. Again, to get your figure back. Okay. Now, I think that's all. Those are what I have to say about it. I hope that is clear. Please repeat your observation on this, please. On what? On that question. Don't allow me to continue to repeat observation now. I don't want it to me as if, you know, I'm being sarcastic. You should know. But okay, let me repeat myself. What I'm saying is this, that the abnormally, so to say, or my observation about the question is that you're supposed not to be given depreciable book value. You're supposed to be given the cost. If you follow your study pack from the beginning, that has been given, I think under straight line method. You're supposed to be given the cost after you compute your depreciation all through the lifespan, and you remove all the accumulated depreciation from your cost, you'll be left with your scrap value. But where the scrap value is already removed from your cost, you have depreciable something, you still be left with something. So it's an error, right? But that error is not for you to crucify. And you have the solution. The process is clear in your book, in your study pack. And I said the way that depreciation rate is calculated is standard. Where you don't have scrap value, use straight line method. It's even in my slide. If I go back to the beginning of that slide, under depreciation rate, I think I stated it there. It's there because it's within the body of knowledge. It's not an error in any way. See, the fixed rate of depreciation can be obtained through straight line method, but can as well be determined adopting formula. And we have the formula here. So I've shown you that. So it then means you can determine your rate through straight line method. After determining your rate through straight line method, then you come to determine to prepare your table over 25 years. The only area of confusion that one or two of my candidates have asked before that drew my attention to that question is that no scrap value is given. And you have the number of years. So you can determine rates using straight line method, 1/n. That gives you 4%. 4%, 0.4. So you start applying your 0.4 for year one, 0.4 of 1 million. That gives you depreciation for year one. Remove that depreciation for year one from 1 million and 50. You get book value. You apply that 0.4 again, that is 4% on that book value you have gotten to get depreciation for year two. Whatever depreciation you get, remove it from the book value of year one, you get book value for year two. Apply 4% to book value of year two, you get depreciation for year three. Remove the book value, the depreciation of year three from the book value of year two, you get book value for year four, year three. Then 4% of your book value of year three, we give you depreciation of year four. Depreciation of year four from your book value of year three minus depreciation of year four, we give you book value of year four. Like that until you get to the end of 25 years, if the question requires it. And that question does not lend itself a note of caution. That question does not allow you to use the formula. Let me go back. Because the question requires you to do what? You are required to compute its annual depreciation. Annual depreciation using single declining balance. So you need to do that table. It is not an option for you to use methods, the formula that are used for book value or to do accumulator or whatever. Because you are not asked to calculate accumulated depreciation. So, but I would suggest that don't limit yourself to annual depreciation because you need the table of that book value, the column of the book value. And if the examiner is looking for book value, you will find it in your table. So you will do your year, you do your depreciation, you do your book value. Unfortunately, my time is fast spent. It's already 11 o'clock. What do you have after? What do you have next, please?
Property development.
Property development. that's a common cost too. Okay. And pardon?
Property management, sir.
Okay.
Management. Property management, not development. That again is a common course for those that will be writing, that you are writing 8 courses or you are writing 4 courses. PQE3. So anyway, I don't want to be guilty of encroaching onto the time of another person. What we're supposed to do next, you can read it up, is to I will come to it, but I'm saying you can get prepared before my lecture again. Unfortunately, my next lecture is going to be next week, Thursday. And that is the last lecture. and I feel we still have a lot to do. I want us to cover the depreciation. At least we have more techniques there, which is some of years digits, in case we are asked to do. Then I want us to cover obsolescences. And obsolescences, we have calculation in obsolescences, right? Then after that, I want us to go to methods of valuation in plant and machinery valuation. If I'm able to cover that, confidently, I will wish you the best in your exam. I should be double sure that there won't be problem. Because all of that written one, you can always read. But now, I don't have the time. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, the other option you guys can have, let's close this water. Let's close this. Okay, what I would suggest, liaise with the coordinator, right? Within this coming week, if they can give you an extension of time between 6 and 8, any day of the week. I think my Wednesday, I'm not sure. Any day of the week between 6 and 8.
Is it possible we'll have it tomorrow, being Sunday? Maybe in the evening.
Okay, you guys have free time. My tomorrow is busy now. I will be busy from 9 till I think from 9 till about 6 o'clock. I'm fully engaged. Unless we want to do it 6 to 8 tomorrow.
Yes. Guys, what do you think? Can we do night lectures? Let's say 6 to 8. Guys, what do we think? Because we need this lecture.
Yeah, it's better. It's better.
It's okay.
It's possible. It's better. Just allow us.
Fine.
It's fine by us. No, in the evening. In the evening. Yes. 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the evening tomorrow.
It's okay.
It's good. It's good.
Tomorrow.
So who is contacting the coordinator for us, please? So that he will be able to allow us to use.
We assign you.
So are you taking up?
Has it gone offline?
He has gone.
Yes, the doctor, lecturer, sir.
I'm online.
Okay. So you've heard the conclusion that if you'll be chanced by 6, you kindly come online, sir, so that we'll meet you, sir, if possible, sir.
No problem. If I have your words, and I'm not sure this link will be available for that. But you need to relate with the coordinator. Either the coordinator, I think better coordinator, because the coordinator will give my secretariat instruction to open the platform for your use. I don't mind. I think 6 o'clock by the grace of God, I can hook up.
So what do you suggest we do, sir?
Reach out to the coordinator of this program. You don't know him?
We don't know him.
We don't know him, sir. We have.
Do you have the list of lecturers?
Yes, we do.
You have the list of lecturers?
Yes, sir, and their phone numbers.
Good. Check for Mr. Victor Oko.
Mr.
Victor Philip Oko. Victor.
Okay, sir.
Do you have it?
So we'll check for it.
If you check, he is the one in charge. Or alternatively, but I think the best way to go is to actually let me see if I can get the best way.
Somebody should check the listing and send the number so that we'll call him right away. Somebody should check the list, the roster, so that we'll call him right away.
Yes, Victor. Oko.
Yes, the Victor Philip Oko.
I'll send it now. I'll send it now.
Okay.
Okay. So if you have that, then conveniently, you can then fix it up for you.
2, 3, 6, 2.
See, do you see my screen? Can you all see my screen? Hello?
Yes.
Can you see
Yes,
my
sir.
screen?
Yes, yes.
We have the number, sir.
Yes, we can. Okay, do you see what I display? Yes. Coordinator, ESV Oko, VPO, that's his number. Are you seeing it?
Yeah.
Yes, we can see. You can copy his number now. So that if we are able to, at least let's round up everything about depreciation and obsolescence, then my last lecture, we can now focus on methods. And if for that lecture we need extra period 2, we will know. Okay, on this note, are you trying to reach him or you get back to me? I don't know if the other lecturer is already in. Lecturer for property management, please, are you in? So that I can disengage now. Property management.
Is yet to come in, sir.
Okay, candidates, you might get
Yet
back
to
to,
come
you have
in.
my number. Pardon?
Is yet to come in.
Is yet to come in? Okay. If we had known, sir, maybe we would have just continued our discussion. Okay, when you are done, you have my number.
I've called him. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I called him twice. He didn't answer.
Okay.
But we'll try and reach him later today, sir, and
then
get back to you.
And get back to me. Thank you. So on this note,
Yes, sir.
I want.
Sir, please help with your number.
Pardon?
Your number, sir, so that I can call you later.
I thought you have my number. Okay, 080. See, my number is here on the screen. 080-330-55.
Okay, okay.
080-330-55621. And that's my WhatsApp number too. Okay, so.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Just let me know, then we can meet tomorrow by the grace of God. On this note, I want to thank you and wish you the best as we continue your lecture.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You are a daddy, sir. Thank